Sheet metal training, step 3.6, hanger setup page. Once in the data file, click the hangers button and you'll be shown the hangers page. The first page that comes up is the rectangular hangers. On the second page is round hangers and then oval hangers. Starting with the rectangular hangers, you can see the description field. This is where you'll be putting in a basic description of what this hanger type entails. You're only available 22 hanger spaces per setup. The horizontal information and the vertical information are where you will put in the descriptions of the types of horizontal and vertical products that are being used with this hanger. Each cost is going to be each assembly that is required in order to connect the hangers to the duct or below the duct. Starting with the very first line, we can see the description says 1 inch by 18 gauge galvanized strap. There would be no horizontal cost, quantity, or description, as these are just two straps hanging down beside the duct and screwed into it. So when we get to the vertical section, we can see that the cost per foot for the 16 gauge strap is 25 cents a foot, that there is a quantity of 2, one on either side of the duct, and the description is 16 gauge galvanized strap. This can be modified simply by clicking in here, deleting, and typing in what information you want. The each cost is going to be the screws for the lower attachment, or attaching the strap to the duct. 6 cents is going to be the starting cost. The way the program works is it takes the each cost and adds it to the hanger assembly. Then it will add on the 25 cents per foot for the vertical height of the straps. So your hanger assembly would start with 6 cents, and then 25 cents a foot times 2 for the length of the straps. Jumping down to setup number 6, we can see that it's 3/8 rod and 2 by 1/4 inch angle. We do have a horizontal cost, as this is going to be the 2 by 1/4 inch angle, and it's $1.26 a foot. There is only one listed because there's only going to be one underneath the duct. If you were doing a top and bottom trapeze system, you could change the quantity here to 2, and it would take the width of the duct and multiply it by $1.26 times 2. 28 cents a foot for the vertical portion, which is going to be 3/8 all thread, and there's a quantity of 2. And we have 60 cents each for the 3/8 components. So that's a total of 30 cents per side of the duct. So 60 cents for the each cost. You can also see that we've got listed different material types: aluminum strap, stainless steel strap, and then we've even got a galvanized strap and 22 gauge channel. These different hangers will be used within the different pressure files. Make sure that you have listed all of the different hanger types that you're going to use. You'll find at the bottom of the page the hanger connectors portion. By clicking this, you'll be shown the hanger connectors that are currently set up in the system. Hanger connectors are the upper attachment or top portion to the hanger assembly. 1/4 inch beam clamp. We will put in the cost for one hanger connector of the selected type. So that's a 48 cents for that 1/4 inch beam clamp. And we're dictating that there's going to be installation labor for this one beam clamp of 0.08 hours. The program will take the cost and the hours and multiply it by the quantity in the vertical portion. So if you have a 2 in here, it's going to use 2 of these hanger connectors. 3/8 inserts are listed at 33 cents with 0.083 hours to install them. So by listing all of your different hanger connectors, you can then apply them to the top portion. You can set defaults as well as allowable alternates. Going back to the hangers page, we can then go to the per hanger setup listed at the bottom. The per hanger setup is different for the rectangular, round, and oval, just as the main setup page. By selecting the hanger, you will then see what the setup options are for that hanger. We've got an average drop for selected hanger set to 4 feet. This is just dictating that on a typical job, we're installing a 4-foot set of galvanized hanger strap. And we're saying that the default installation time for this is 0.1 hours. And then for every 2 feet longer than the default, which is 4, we want to adjust the 0.1 hours up by 5%. So the program will look at what you put in for your job. If you were to put in 16 feet, the program would say for every 2 feet longer than 4, add 5% to the 0.1. Total vertical allowance for selected hanger is set to 4 inches. So we're dictating that there's going to be a 2-inch addition at the bottom, and then there's also going to be a couple of inches at the top per hanger. So it's added in a total of 4-inch allowance. Horizontal allowance, there is none because there's no horizontal component with a hanger strap. However, if we click on one of the angles or unistrut options, we will see that the average is the same, the labor is higher, and then the labor adjustment is higher. We also have the vertical allowance set at a little bit more to include the rod screwing into the beam clamp or the insert, and the rod distance beneath the unistrut or the angle. And we've also got some horizontal allowance for the unistrut or the angle to stick out on either side of the duct. Listed below is fabrication labor, so if you're fabricating any part of this hanger, you can put in hours for that. And you can also put in pounds per foot of your hangers if you wish to have those pounds included in your total weight of the job. Listed at the bottom of the screen are the allowable alternates for the hanger connectors. We have 3/8 rod and 3/4 inch unistruts selected. Looking at the bottom, we would only want to allow the 3/8 beam clamp, the 3/8 insert, the 3/8 SAMI screw, and the 3/8 coach or lag screw. We also give the option of none in case you want to have no hanger connector at the top. You would only allow the appropriate hanger connectors based on the hanger that is selected on the left. These are the allowable alternates. Now if we select Show Default Connector, we can now dictate which connector is going to be the default to come up at the start of every takeoff. If we come back up and select 20 gauge strap, we'll see that the default was changed over to the tech screw. So each item can have its own default and allowable alternates. Let's go back to the hangers page, and then we'll visit the round setup. The only difference between the rectangular and the round is that we have a circumference section. The circumference section is the distance around the outside of the duct. So if you think of spiral pipe, 12-inch round, you have a circumference going around that. 1-inch by 20 gauge galvanized strap, we have a vertical portion, which is going to be 25 cents per foot, a quantity of 1, and the description is 20 gauge galvanized strap. Wrapped around the outside of the circumference is 25 cents a foot, 20 gauge galvanized strap. So the only difference between the two pages is the addition of a circumference column. This will conclude the walkthrough for the hanger setup page.